Okay, and let's go. There's 5 people in the waiting room, and I think it will take a few seconds for everybody to connect. But I can already see some first names. Hello, Joshua. I see Vincent connecting. Niamaka, hello. Welcome. I hope you can see and hear us clearly already. Some people are connecting with the audio. We will wait a few minutes for everybody to dial in. I see 3 people so far. Nice to have you here. You're welcome to turn on your cameras if you can, so we can see you. If not, that's also fine, depending on your connections and options. Lancelot connecting, super. Great to have you here. I see Niaforti is also connecting. Welcome. Great. And we will wait a couple more minutes for the others to connect, but welcome to the ones that are already here. Great to have you. I will check if everybody in the chat is fine too. Okay. And also to the ones that are joining now, you're welcome to turn on your cameras. I see Kingsley and Peace connecting. They probably don't hear me yet. Hello, Peace. Hello, Kingsley. Welcome. Great to have you here as well. And now I see Olive is entering. Super. You also invited to turn on your cameras if you can, to say hello, so we can also see you, if it's possible for you. It was great already to see you all chatting actively in the WhatsApp group since yesterday. So it's not all new faces. You at least introduced yourself already once. Ah, I see Vincent's camera on. Hello, great to see you. Super. Okay, I would say we wait till latest 5 past for the last ones to dial in. I see a message from Joshua, unable to put the camera. That's totally fine. We understand that. It's good that you're here. I hope you hear as well. And yeah, feel free to use the chat if that's easier. No problem at all. Thank God we have all these different options. Great. We have a total number of 20 changemakers. I don't think it will be possible for everybody to join us today, but I will give the others one last minute and then we will officially start. Super. Okay. It's 5 past. So I would say we start. Hello and a big welcome to all of you, our EVWA Changemakers 2023. We are so excited to have you here. I see Pisa's camera is also on now. Hello, great to see you. Welcome also to Monika Fröhler, our CEO at the Ban Ki-moon Center, and my two colleagues, Anna Tionenko and Katarina Toro, who will support us today as well. I also see Kingsley's message to be preferably called Kelsey. Great, I noted that. Thanks for sharing. My name, to start with that also, is Caroline Gansdorfer. I used to pronounce she, her. I'm a program officer at the Ban Ki-moon Center, but you probably already know that from my various emails and WhatsApps. We're really excited to be able to connect with you today, to have you all here, and to, most importantly, elevate the voices of women in agriculture together. So welcome to our special networking event. You all were selected out of many applications from all across Africa. And after a 3-week nomination period in which you've all sent us great videos, pictures, and descriptions of your outstanding projects, we're really happy to have you here and collect this special crowd in this call. And you already introduced yourselves a bit in the WhatsApp, but we know that you are activists here. We have entrepreneurs, you are founders or volunteers. We have consultants and trainers, engineers, and truly all of us for you are for us truly change makers. And now we have designed this event for you, especially to connect with each other, to learn about each other's projects, and to brainstorm together some innovative ideas and solutions. But before we do all that, I'm proud to announce our first speaker today, Monika Fröhler. And Monika is not only the CEO of the Ban Ki-moon Center, but also a change maker herself. And she's as well passionate about the Sustainable Development Goals, women and youth empowerment, and advocates for the Paris Climate Agreement and gender equality. So Monika, it's my pleasure to hand over to you first for our special congratulatory remarks.
Hello, dear friends. We are gathering today to kick off an amazing opportunity. Hopefully, it's an amazing opportunity for you. And I'm looking at Mirelle, I'm looking at Kelsey, I'm looking at Peace, at Nyamaka, I hope I'm pronouncing you correctly. Vincent, good to see you again. We already know each other. Kweto, Joshua, Olive, it's brilliant that you are here. Why is it brilliant? Because you guys, as Caro said, you have been chosen amongst many, many, many people that applied. And we know that you make a difference in everyday lives of smallholder farmers. You are champions in your own right. And you come from, and I have to read that out because I didn't memorize, you come from 10 different countries all across Africa. Probably not everyone is here today, but there is really Cameroon, Kenya, Malawi, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe represented in this group. And guess what? The average age of you guys is, drum roll, 26 years. 26, so it's a young change makers crowd. And yet you are the backbone of what it means to actually provide whole countries with food, nutrition. All of us are witnessing the worsening climate conditions. All of us are witnessing food insecurities. And indeed, it is those that contributed least to climate change that are hit the hardest. So you witness that in your countries, and yet many of you have actually made it their life's call to tackle these problems. So what we have is experts on certain practices, we have experts on certain crops, we have experts on certain topics, on solutions, on technology, on finance, and empowering young change makers and also women. And just to give you a glimpse into the skills that are around and that you hopefully can tap into in the coming weeks and months, your crowd that you are gathering here today for the first time is an amazing resource for even work that you are doing yourself. I do hope that you're connecting to others in your cohort and, for example, find out who is the one who knows all about how to access loans and in financial institutions. Who is the one who knows a lot about microcredits for women? Who is the one of you who knows a lot about transforming wasted food into products that still are very market ready? Who of you is an expert on agroforestry? Who of you knows a hell of a lot on tree nurseries? Who of you knows about how to place products so that they actually get a key premium price at market? Some of you are experts on gender policies. There is one amongst you, and you surely will find out soon, who has already empowered more than 10,000 farmers in his own region. And I gave away the gender, haha. Another one of you is a global citizenship education expert. Yet another one is very much into healthy eating and nutrition. We also have a veterinarian amongst you guys, and someone who is keen on artificial intelligence and how to actually apply it to agricultural projects. We also have someone who is in sustainable fashion, and someone who won a hackathon just this year in 2023. And these are just some of the bits and bobs of expertise that you can find in the crowd. And maybe to finish my short remarks, let me give you a story. And I think Vincent already knows it, and probably my dear colleagues from the BKMC already know it. The story was told to me by the white person came to a country in Africa. It was Namibia in the story. And this white person put a pot of sweets into like a village playground where the kids were playing around. And the white person asked the kids, well, who can run fastest? The first one who can grab this pot of sweets will own it all together. The person will just simply take it all. And the kids looked at the guy, bewildered, and basically took each other's hand, shouted, Ubuntu, and ran forward to this pot together. And for me, this story is just an illustration of how the right mindset, how fellowship, camaraderie, tapping into each other's knowledge, being fair play, and being able to share in a community can actually give something to everyone. So I do hope that all of you will, under the motto of Ubuntu, make the most out of the EVWA change-making program that we have prepared for you. And I'm thankful to each and every one of you to be willing and free to share their expertise, their knowledge, and their insights. Thanks for being here.
Big applause to Monica. Thank you so much for these motivating words to work together. And I love the little detective exercise. I hope you can solve some of the riddles on who is an expert in what during our session today. Next up, I would like to look at the agenda and tell you what you can expect from today's session. So we've already started with the congratulatory remarks. And we'll have a bit of a virtual orientation, how to handle Zoom during this call afterwards. And then the whole call is designed with different aspects and activities. We will do a speed dating. Don't worry, you don't have to find the love of your life. It's more to meet each other a bit better. We will look at some best practice examples. And Monica, you actually already gave a little teaser on one of them. So you will find out a bit more about two very special projects. We will collaborate all together on Mural, and you already got the link to that in our WhatsApp group. So thanks for checking on that already as well. And we will see a documentary of the champion from last year, Lilian Nakigozi. Maybe some of you have seen that already, but we will watch it together as well. But at the very end, we want to give you some special space and time for what we call open networking, just really to exchange with no agenda. So there will also be time for this after all the different activities we have prepared. And to sort of settle in together in that call, we would like to invite you to take a moment to check all the different options that we have here. You're invited to turn on your camera, like I mentioned in the beginning. We really want this to be active and exchanging. So thanks for already typing into the chat. I invite everyone to say hello. You can unmute yourself, say hi. Make sure that your Zoom name corresponds to the name that you use. And you're also welcome to add the pronouns there that you would like us to address you with. And we also have a reactions button here, so you can also share that. If you hear something that inspired you, that you liked, or if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. This is really for you to exchange and be active. So yeah, you're all invited to participate here. And since I already see some cameras on, that's great. Thank you, Germaine, also Angela, I see. You probably wonder, who are those people? So we would like to use this moment to first smile together and take a picture, now that we have all the cameras on. And I hand over to my colleague Katharina, who I've introduced in the beginning, and she's the expert in that. She will master and make us all look the best version of ourselves.
Thank you, Caro. Hi, everyone. I'm Katharina, and I'm the Communications Officer at the Ban Ki-moon Center, and I'm the one who's in charge of the branding for EVA. And I'm going to take a great picture of us now. So put on your brightest smile and look into the camera, and I will count down to 3 and take a screenshot. So if everyone can turn on the cameras, that would be great. And I will count now. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And then let's take another one where everyone is like waving into the camera. Again, I will count 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you so much.
Super. Thanks a lot for that, Katharina. We will, of course, share those pictures with you. I always love to see that all the cameras on. Okay. And you probably wondered, who are those people that you just smiled in the camera with? That's why we would like to start with a little introduction round first, before we go to our first speed dating round. But first, I invite you to share in the chat and introduce you with 3 little emojis. And I see Joshua's message. That's all right. Maybe if it works later, your camera, that would be great. Otherwise, it's fine. So for now, to introduce yourself, please use 3 emojis that are available and type it in the chat and introduce yourself with that. It can be something that you like. It can represent your country, your project. You can be creative here. Just 3 emojis that describe you best, sort of. And for the ones who don't have access to an emoji, you can also do that with 3 words. That's also an option. So just type in the chat here on Zoom so we can all see it right now. What kind of emojis represent you best? Oh, great. I already see Olive putting in 3 emojis. Very interesting. Thanks. Vincent as well. Super. We will be really little detectives today because I have another exercise afterwards for that. But first, I'll give everyone the chance to think about their 3 emojis. Or like I said, it can also be 3 words. Sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, Vincent, I see 2 emojis for you. I don't see the first one. It just gives me like a rectangular box. I don't know why.
It's a white heart. I see a white heart.
Ah, you do? Okay, it's just my computer then.
Yeah,
Good.
Maybe that's
Super.
why. But thanks. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Great. Okay, I see Malamine's emojis as well. Super. Germaine, peace. Oh, that's an interesting one. Okay. I'll give the others a few more seconds to also introduce themselves with an emoji. And now I would ask for some volunteers to introduce, but not themselves, but another person. And this will be the first like detective exercise. So I will try my best myself and try to introduce, let's say, peace, with the 3 emojis. And you can tell me later if that's correct or not. So I see a bit of meat, a piece of meat that could be connected to food. I see a happy face. So Hopefully that's how you feel right now. And some tones. So I guess maybe you like music. And yeah, please, volunteers, try to do the same. And maybe Peace can tell us if that was anywhere close to what she wanted to say. Can you hear us, Peace?
Sorry, I had an issue with my network. What did you? I just heard my name, Peace. That's all.
Okay, no problem at all. I tried to solve the riddle of your emojis, and I said maybe you're interested in food or meat, you're happy, and you like music.
Yes, you're right. It's food, not meat.
Yay.
Food, actually.
Food. Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
I'm
Good
a
you
foodie.
clarified. And now really, I invite you all, just raise your hand or just unmute yourself and try to solve the riddle of maybe the person who typed in the emojis just before you. I see Angela unmuting. Hi.
This is Angela from Malawi. Yeah.
Hey. Great. Would you like to solve the riddle of someone?
No, maybe later, not now.
Okay, super. But thanks for saying hi. That's great too.
I could try.
Yeah, please, Masika, go ahead.
I could try for Kingsley. Kingsley. I think it means you're Nigerian and you like weightlifting and dancing. Or the gym and dancing.
Kelsey, could you help us? Is that correct? I see you laughing and shaking your head. I'm not sure if that's a good sign. Let's see what Kelsey says. In the meantime, because I don't see Kelsey. No, okay, Kelsey's typing in the chat. Let us know what the solution is in the chat, if that's easier for you. I see Olive's hand. Olive, please, go ahead.
I'll go for Milel Kazungu. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right, but I think she's into tree cultivation and she's from Rwanda and she's proud.
Beautiful. Thanks so much,
Beautiful.
Olive.
Thanks so much,
Mireille.
Olive. Mireille.
Is I think it's not true, but she tried.
It's not true, you're saying.
Yeah, it's not true, but she tried.
But she tried.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to separate something like a green initiative because the project I'm working on is about zero waste. So I tried to bring something like a green initiative, but I'm from Rwanda, as she said, and I'm really happy.
Great, that's super to hear. Thanks for sharing. Someone else would like to try.
Hi.
Jovia, hi.
Hi. So
we don't hear you very well.
Even now?
Yeah, now it's better. Thanks.
Yeah. So the one for. Did anyone explain the one for Gamay?
I don't think so. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think she's a loving person. And then she's from Rwanda. And then she's a feminist. Maybe like she fights for girls' rights or female rights, something like that. Yes, thank you.
I see where you get that from the last female emoji. Jermaine, would you like to tell us if that's true?
Yeah, she really nailed it. Actually, she said it all. So congrats, clap for her for real. Yeah,
Great.
I'm actually a loving person and I really believe in women empowerment. And yes, I am from Rwanda, so she said it all.
Great. Super. Very good detectives here. That's great to hear. Thank you all for sharing so much. And also Kelsey said Sophia's right to solve that riddle as well. Amazing. So now that you know each other a tiny bit, we would go to our first speed dating round where we continue the little introductions we've already started. And for that, we will put you in breakout rooms. Anna, could you please share the presentation? Yeah, she's already nodding, just to show you and make the task clear. Thanks so much, Anna. So you will be in breakout rooms for 3 minutes with 2 other people. So you'll be 3. And each of you gets 1 minute to introduce yourself to your fellow changemakers. The groups will be random, and then we all meet back in the main room here, okay? Is there any questions about this? Is that clear for everyone? You can unmute yourself if you have a question or raise your hand. I don't see anything. So we will take some extra time, of course, to connect in the breakout room and to connect back here. But as for now, I will invite Anna to... Did you want to say something, Angela? No, I don't hear anything right now. So let's go into our speed dating groups. Anna, thank you for doing that. And we meet back here in 3 minutes.
Hi, sorry, someone interrupted with my network. Help me and share the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Vivian, for asking. We're putting you now in the breakout rooms. You should be connected soon. You have to accept yourself.
That's it, yeah.
Super. Thanks, Anna, so much.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Angela. Yuria, super. I see some of you connecting back. Peace. Great, Jermaine. Yeah, it looks like we have everyone back in the main room. And I see some smiles. That's great. I hope you enjoyed meeting the first 2 other changemakers a bit closer in our speed dating. Now you will meet one special changemaker a bit closer, because we have a best practice example. We actually have 2 today, and one of them is Peace Aquara. She advocates for healthy eating and nutrition and fights against food waste with the project Food Army. And Peace, I'm really happy that you said yes to sharing a bit about your project here today. We will make you co-host now, like we discussed. If you like to share something, that's possible now. And I will just hand over to you and let you all enjoy. Let's give a big applause to Peace, the best practice example. Over to you.
Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Also, amazing, thanks.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
And I'm a Nigerian. Thank you for the opportunity to share Food Army. Food Army is an initiative that was launched about 6 months ago, precisely in Ogun State, in a community called Awobo. So in Awobo community, we have over 1,000 farmers, women farmers, and youth farmers. It's more like a youth hub with lots of farmers. And in this community, we are known for growing of vegetables like lettuce, vegetables like bell peppers, tomatoes. And we've realized with the growing number of farmers trooping into this community, we get to experience what is called food waste, where you have food or plants that gets ready and are not being harvested, or they are not being sold. And because of that, we needed to start this initiative. So this initiative is solely aimed to combat food waste. When we've been doing lots of training as well as advocacy on food waste. I just have a little gallery here, okay, to show what we have done so far, some of our little interactive section. So the first picture there is an example of the reason for this initiative. We have areas or times where you have this kind of large volume of waste. In that picture, what is there is two varieties of lettuce. You have the oak green and also the oak red lettuce. And that is a large amount that has been wasted. On the next slide, that was one of the presentation we made in the National Youth Day that just happened was that last month or early this month, one of them. So we had to do like a presentation in the community just for people to understand the need to curb out this food waste and also think of ways that it can mitigate it. Then the other two pictures there are just a training section where we get to talk to these farmers. And just as I said, you can see lots of the people seated there are youths. It's a youth hub. And lots of farmers, we have lots of female farmers and also few male farmers among us. Okay, so Food Army came out of a compassion for the pains that farmers feel. And we've noticed lots of time farmers go through the tedious work and the hard labor, and then they are rewarded their reward is not meeting up to the demands or meeting up to the inputs they put. And this has caused a kind of setback and a kind of sadness for these farmers. One of the challenges that are being faced is the quality standards that are set by off-takers. So lots of times you have off-takers who have set what they call high appearance quality standards, and they tell you, oh no, we can't take these carrots because they are not looking beautiful, and they tag them as ugly foods. Or we can't take these bell peppers because they are not belled enough, they are not looking roundish and things like that. All these issues are things that end up not just wasting the food, but they end up also being left as landfills that also cause pollution to the environment. And loss of food in our community equals to loss of resources and loss of financial gain for these farmers. Also, another challenge is in Nigeria, we have few processors. So when you have food like this that are not looking as beautiful as the off-taker would call it, if we had lots of processors, we would happily give it to them so that they can convert this thing to something else valuable. But in the absence of that, it also fosters this waste that happens in this community. And even those processors that are available, they end up trying to buy at a very low buying power, and they are charging at a very low price to get a large amount of food crops and things like that. Then another challenge is the accessibility to cold storage facilities. With Food Army, we are trying to first train our farmers, our women farmers, to understand that even before these plants are being harvested, there are certain handling processes. Do you handle these plants carefully? This will also help their shelf life. Okay, once they are done and they are ready to be harvested, What is your post-harvest handling like? These are one of the trainings we do in Food Army. Then we also want them to start thinking about upcycling, recycling. How can we convert this food? We cannot always tell our carrot how to look like. We can't always tell our bell peppers how to look like. But a situation where the market says, oh, this carrot is not looking pretty, what do I do? Do I actually allow it to waste? So we are beginning to make them realize, as farmers, let's start thinking processing. Let's start thinking dehydrating. Let's start processing these things into something valuable, something that would, by the time we get to sell them, we still get that money. We don't end up losing financially. That is part of the training we have been given in Food Army. And we are also trying to provide a platform where this so-called ugly food are actually sold directly to the consumers. Because when we look at it, we realize that the off-takers who set this standard are setting a standard that the consumers actually do not mind. I mean, when you see this carrot, they have the same nutritional value as the straight one, or the cucumbers, they have the same nutritional value as the straight one. So I would go to the market and buy, whether it's a straight cucumber or a bent cucumber, provided it's looking fresh and healthy, I'll buy it. But meanwhile, these markets, once they say no, they have cut the consumers from even accessing that thing. So we are trying to create a platform where consumers get to see this produce and they are like, we are good with it, we don't mind. That is one of the core values in Food Army. And most importantly, we are trying to remind people on the value of food. We realize that when you talk about money, money is seen as an important topic. It's seen as a very valuable topic. Everybody wants to talk about money. But why don't we talk about food? When we realize food connects us in not just the nutritional area, we try to also rekindle that in the minds of our farmers so that our consumers also get to know that food should be appreciated. Food should be cherished. Food should be loved. And when we have that kind of mindset, it will actually help us to always maximize every chance we get to have access to food. Okay, so thank you. That's my little slide on Food Army. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Peace, for presenting Food Army and these great examples and initiatives you have. I love the pictures, how to see with how many young people you exchanged. And that's really, I think we share the values that you presented, the value for food, how important it is. And I loved what you said, that we can't tell the carrots how to look like, and the nutritious value stays the same. So big applause to you. Thank you so much. Before we go over to our next point, is there any questions you would like to ask Peace right now about Food Army, about what she just presented? You can type it in the chat as well. I can say it out loud, or just unmute yourself. Masika, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one more question and appreciate one component of her presentation about addressing the emotional side that comes with, you know, food loss. Because sometimes we forget that these farmers are working like us, the way we are employed. So if you plant crops and then you take it to the market and people don't appreciate it, it's the same way I would write a report and take it to my supervisor and they don't appreciate the work I've put in. So there's an emotional sadness and burden that comes with this type of food loss. So I just wanted to ask, in your project, how have you been able to address the social component or the emotional component of this when it comes to the women and the farmers?
Okay, hi, Sophia.
Hi.
So just as I said earlier, before now, it's more like you just see them feel sad. They just feel sad. Oh, my carrots cannot be sold, my bell peppers cannot be sold because it looks like this. Right now, with the training we've been having, a lot of them are beginning to see the reasons why they should go into processing. And because we are a community, we are trying to make them realize that, yes, we are farmers, but can we not all be producers? Can some of us just focus on processing? Can some of us just focus on dehydrating? Can some of us just focus on connecting farmers to the consumers directly? So we are trying to do it together as a community under the same umbrella. So it's just, for now, I think with this discussion we've been having and training, a lot of them are beginning to see other value chains that can be added. So I didn't mention part of our beneficiary, past ones. I've had scenarios where one of my beneficiary is currently into the rearing of rabbits, and what she does is the waste from the farm is what she feeds her rabbits. I have those ones that are now into the whole biogas production, thinking of compost and trying to ensure that all this waste are no longer discarded and seen as pollution to the environment, but instead they can be stored and done well in the form of fertilizer and manures. So with that, they realize they now get extra funds for these things. So my rabbit lady ends up getting that waste, she gives it to her rabbits. The urine of the rabbit is even bought by the farmers and used as pesticide, and she sees extra income from that. It makes them happy. So they are all now looking for ways on how they can actually make good use of their waste, such that it also brings a financial gain to them instead of where they just lose on every side.
Thank you. That was a brilliant answer.
Great. Yeah, I agree. Thanks so much. And I see that there was already the word diversification mentioned in the chat, which is, I think, exactly what we're looking at. And Kelsey also saying this is great, Rao. So thanks so much, Peace. And this brings us actually very well to our next activity, which is a bit more of a collaboration. So I invite you all now to connect to the mural board. Thanks, Anna, for sending the link once again in here. I will share it with all of us, and we will have a closer look on those challenges and solutions that Peace already talked about. So yeah, take the moment to please follow the link. There is no password, and connect to the mural board. I will share it with all you here so you can see it as well. And I'm happy if someone from the team can tell me if you already see my screen. So we have, this will be our EVA Changemakers board. Can you see it? I don't see everyone in the group anymore. So if someone could just like tell me out loud if you can see it, please.
Yes.
Super, thanks, Anna. Great. So this is our sort of thinking collaboration board together today. And I already see most of you here. We will start over there on the left and first look at women farmers and the challenges that they face and how all of you with your great projects and ideas support them to overcome those challenges. And the idea here, and what I invite you to do as our next activity now, is take, please, one of those sticky notes. You can also create a new one over here. Take it and start writing over here, what are the challenges that women face in your country? So for example, taking the example from Peace, we can type in here, food waste as a challenge. And just leave the sticky note over there. Try to maybe arrange it with others. And I hope you have the option to write on it. This is possible if you have access to edit the board. But if not, what you could also do is write it in our chat. So if you have some difficulties, let us know. Just type in the chat what you would type in here, and Anna is so kind and will help us with that. Yeah, great. I see the visiting elephant. I don't know who that is, but already taking a sticky note. Feel free to type. I will give each of us 3 minutes to think about that. And then we come together and have a closer look again.
Hello, what have you said about someone who's encountering a challenge in writing on the bureau? Because I'm using the phone and it's not working.
Okay, Vincent, I only heard a part of what you said, but I think it's because you're connected with the phone. Feel free to participate in the discussion afterwards or type it in our chat on Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
And we will post it for you. Yeah, no problem. I know this kind of tools can be tricky sometimes, but I'm happy because I see already many different sticky notes. You have a bit of time left. Okay, that was our little timer. And thank you all. I see many ideas here. Feel free to finish your thought and what you were writing. I'm just making some of the notes a bit bigger so we are able to see what you wrote. Ooh. Okay. And let's zoom in together on the challenges that we've collected. So one of the challenges somebody mentioned is a lack of access to markets and no decision-making power. So I would group those together maybe of, access to decisions, access to financial institutions. So we have a group of those already represented here. Thank you for sharing that. We have competition between domestic gender roles and economic activities. So that sums up the gender component and inequality that we have as a challenge of women farmers in some countries. We have, of course, climate change, climate issues, drought, desertification. Thank you for adding that. The rejection of health food by the off-takers due to physical standards. So this could go together maybe with the food waste that Peace has already mentioned, and also maybe the access to cold storage facilities, because that could potentially create food waste. So we have many different groups already here. I will make this one a bit bigger to share it with you. Another problem that was described as access to land in regards to commercial agriculture. And this person already gave us some solutions. That's super. Thanks for that. We will have a look at that later. I will, for now, focus on the challenges. We have limited knowledge on how to turn traditional farming to an economically beneficial business. Okay, so it's about knowledge sharing, farming practices, but also entrepreneurship that we look at here. Great, thanks for that. Limited access to resources such as land ownership. So we had that a bit here with the access to land. This one we don't need. And another challenges that were summarized here, I'll just make that one bigger as well, is lack of employment opportunities, lack of land to cultivate on, financial illiteracy, and limited access to farm inputs. Thank you all for sharing all those. There's two more that I see here. I don't want to miss out on them. That's already solutions. Okay, we will have a look at that later. So that's already solutions. Would someone like to share who put a sticky note? What do you see it connected to? Maybe to some of the other notes that your fellow changemakers put in. Do we have any volunteers? You can also share your thoughts or clarify a bit on what you meant. Maybe someone from the group of lacking access to several resources. Just raise your hand or unmute yourself and feel free to speak up. We have some very important points here together. Okay, I don't see a hand right now. Masika, Sophia, please go ahead.
At this point, I'm speaking more than the rest of the team, so I was waiting for someone else to raise their hand so I don't look like the only one speaking.
You're welcome to speak. We love to hear your thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm very passionate about this, and I put the lack of access to financial infrastructure. And this idea is because even myself, as a woman who's well educated in Kenya, when it comes to applying for loans and grants and all that, it's very difficult for donors and grantees to trust that women can very easily well utilize the money that they are asking for. So most of the time, and especially for the rural communities, they would need approval from their husbands or like an older brother or an uncle or a village elder who's male to assure to secure the different financial loans that they're looking for. And I think this is in line with someone else who said about limited access to resources such as land ownership. One of the things that we've done in our project is to ensure that we are buying land from farmers who, like male farmers who also co-own the land with their wives, so that at the end of the day, when you're buying the land, the woman also has the option to agree to the price that you're negotiating. So that also gives them the power when it comes to this land ownership. But in Kenya also, land ownership is mainly by men, and there's limited, I mean, it's changing right now, but before fathers could not transfer land to their daughters because of the traditional mentality that women will go and get married to another family. So that has been a challenge, but I slowly by slowly we are overcoming that. Thanks.
Wow, super. Thanks for that great summary. And I see Olive's hand. Would you like to answer directly to that? You're on mute still. We can't hear you yet.
So sorry for that.
Yeah, thanks.
I would like to comment on what she said. I'll give an example of Malawi. In Malawi, we're also having issues of lack of access of land for women farmers to be cultivating on. For our project, we put on a temporary solution. We know it might not be very sustainable with time, but now because we have a little bit huge amount of land, so we're trying to let them access part of our land to be farming some of their crops, as we're fighting for the land rights for them. Because in Malawi, policies take very long to be processed. So we can't just be staying waiting for the policy to be processed. So that's how we came about with that initiative for, so we just made them create, a cooperative. We just made women create cooperatives. So we like let them access part of our land per group to be cultivating their crops, of which will also help them here and there on farm inputs, because farm inputs aren't easily accessible in Malawi. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
that.
Yeah, super. That temporary, but I guess a very important solution while waiting for those policies. I see Vincent's hand and would like to let you speak before we go over to the solutions.
Thank you. So I think already the issue of land has been mentioned severally, of which it's quite an urgent issue. So I'm from Laikipia County in Kenya. I think a number of people have had me explaining about the situation, about that it's really classified as an arid semi-arid land area, in that drought periods have really been extending because of climate change. So the other issue has been also the land ownership. Now, most of the land in Laikipia County is communal land, in that it's no man's land, it's owned by the community. So if you're a pastoralist and you have livestock, you can graze on any part of the land. Now, the problem comes in that you cannot do any commercial agriculture. Now, there's a whole myriad of problems in regards to that. One, it's dry, you really can't find water. Now, in the event that as a woman, you get a piece of land that you can be able to do agriculture, the community sort of has a rule. You cannot use this land for commercial agriculture. So you can get all the resources you need, you do the irrigation and everything, but you cannot be able to use this land to farm plants that will give you revenue. So one of the issues that you have found is that these women are given the access, you can farm anything that grows widely, anything that survives on its own, you just harvest it, use it for whatever use you need. So our solution that you've presented is that cactus farming, the cactus does well in these arid and semi-arid lands. And anybody, it does not need anyone to irrigate it, doesn't need anyone to plant it, and you can produce a whole list of products from it. So we have gone and said, like, you said, your rules are like, do not good, keep employing the land, or you will not do that. You have the cactus plant here. They are allowed. So that's our solution, and I think the solutions I can recommend for most people are within these problems, and then engage the solution, so that even if the men need to the solution that you're providing, they will first have to.
I hear Vincent very cut, unfortunately. Yeah. And I see Anna nodding that that's the same case. And now Vincent is gone. But thank you so much. If you can hear us, or if you rejoin later, of course, yeah, the challenges for pastoralists are even higher. And that's actually already a solution that you touched upon with the cactus farming. So I would like to give us to go to the next question, which you already partially answered. That's why we will maybe put 2 minutes here to just collect all the answers. And I see many sticky notes already to talk about the solutions. So we have the advocacy for land rights. We have training on food upcycling. And maybe you would like to share a few more points. You can unmute yourself. You can just talk freely. Put one more sticky note. Yeah, and you're 40. I see your hand. Please go ahead. And then Olive as well.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I'm just so glad to be here with all the change makers. It's quite amazing. And hearing all these different solutions, I'm just so glad we have this kind of innovation that thinks about these things passionately and we're acting on it. But I want to speak from the perspective of probably let's say someone who grew up in a rural community and they have really seen a lot of issues and have been able to travel and try to find solutions to this. Now, we're speaking a lot about individual problems, lack of land, lack of finances, market, and all of these. And these are things people have been talking about for 100 years. And I think if we come here on a program like this, like Great Leaders, to still talk about lack of land, lack of access, lack of this, and try to bring general solutions, I think at the end of this today, we won't really learn a lot in terms of trying to really understand the main challenge. I want to give this. Even if we solve the problem of lack of land, have we solved the issue where farmers are being probably after planting, everything is lost because the middlemen come and get everything and then they have to pay them very little. I think the critical challenge in Africa is the fact that smallholder farmers are suffering because they lack the ability to negotiate. For instance, I'm a young man. If I want to engage in agriculture, I might have the land, I have the finances, but at the end of the day, how do I negotiate to sell my product to a point where I'll be able to make appreciable profits? Most of us are in Malawi, some in Cameroon, some in Ghana. One of the major challenges we face is that even as a woman, because these problems, normally women are more vulnerable, but in general, this is what everyone who is doing farming, even as a young person, we face. It is the ability for us to sell our produce and make profit. Because if we sell, access to land won't be an issue. We'll be able to buy land. If we sell, if we can sell well, sell in good prices, we'll be able to access all these things. So the key to me, I think, is the ability for farmers to properly negotiate and sell and see agriculture as a business. If we are doing, let's look at other sectors. If I want to sell, let's say I'm a businessman, I want to sell cup. People know that a cup probably might be sold for 100 francs. And I'm going to sell for 100 francs. And then I know that my profit is 20 francs. But that's not the case in agriculture. The key in agriculture, whether there is market, whether we lack markets, we lack all of this. Even if they give us access to this, are we sure we are still going to be able to sell at the price where we make profit? And to me, I think largely the challenges we face as Africans is the fact that we, for instance, our produce are not competitive in the market enough. Even women that I train, the lady spoke about vegetable food harvest and post-harvest management. And then another lady spoke about giving lands to farmers for them to farm. But she will conclude, she will agree with me that even when you provide these lands and all these finances for women, at the end of the day, when they sell, their profit is not appreciable. So it makes farming very frustrating for a lot of people, even including women, because we don't have the market that will buy for farmers to make appropriate profits for them to be able to take care of their homes. Cocoa is the same thing, 100 billion. How much do we sell? How much? You say farmers only make 6% of the total revenue. So at the end of the day, even if we solve some of these problems, we still have a major issue, and that is the ability for people to understand that this is farming. I can do farming and I can make money. So I think we should talk a lot in terms of how do we solve the real root issue in agriculture. And to me, I think the real root issue is the inability for us as farmers to be able to compete. The inability for us farmers to sell our produce in a market where we can decide. We don't have that decision yet. And now you are abroad. I don't know, but now we understand that. Now there are subsidies that are given to farmers. Farmers are subsidized in the United States up to the sum of $125,000 US. Can you imagine you send rice from abroad? He has to pay tax, transportation, everything. It comes to a market like Africa and it's cheaper than what is grown in countries in Africa. Because first of all, the farmers don't have the ability to compete, because we don't have the environment as farmers to do that. Agriculture in Africa largely is not considered as a sector where people have invested. So we are suffering. So we can solve a lot of these issues, but at the end of the day, farmers will still face a lot of issues. So I feel like it's important that we should really look at the deep issues, because we can individually bring all these solutions. But the deep issue is farming is not a business. 80% of farmers in Africa are smallholder farmers, which means at the end of the day, they are still poor. They still live below a told her. If you solve the post-harvest issue, it doesn't help in any way, because at the end of the day, they could still preserve the food and still go to the market and sell at a very cheap cost. So they still remain in poverty. So I think the deep issue is the ability for us to go to the market and sell and make money. And that's where we have an issue in agriculture.
Thanks, Niaforti. I see you're very passionate about the topic. Thanks so much for sharing. I heard many topics you touched up on: market price, negotiation tactics that could be a solution, the special challenges for widows, definitely. Thanks so much for sharing. Looking at the time, before we go over to the next point, I wanted to give Olive also the chance, since you raised your hand, to raise your point. And then we continue with the other program that we've planned. Olive, please, would you like to answer?
All right, thank you. So for us as a social enterprise that aim at empowering women through climate smart agriculture, we have providing financial literacy, awareness, and sustainable farming practices training as part of our solutions. So I know he was saying about how we like smallholder farmers like the ability to negotiate and the likes. On our part, we're just trying to train them on financial literacy. It's not like it can happen with just a flip of a finger for them to know their product price worth. But I believe with the training that we're providing them, we'll get there. Thank you.
I was on mute. Thanks, Olive, for sharing that. And I think we also have that here, right? Like capacity building for female farmers on financial literacy. But of course, it's not that easy to do those kind of trainings. But there's many trainings mentioned here on food upcycling, real-life examples. The good thing is that we have all that here collected also for the future. So thank you all so much for sharing all the solutions. We will keep it at that for now. And I would like to invite to the floor another best practice example that we have prepared today. We have another speaker that we have invited to share their project. And I really hope I say your name correct, Germaine Akeza Mkursuvanda, who is an agripreneur, and that really connects and shows her passions for agriculture and entrepreneurship. Germaine, we are very happy that you're here today to present us your Agro Solution project. I will also make you co-host and give you the floor. You can share a presentation if you like, and tell us a bit more about your project. But I don't see her here right now. Germaine?
I don't see her here. Maybe she got disconnected.
I think she got disconnected. I see her in the waiting room. So I will let her access. So yeah, Germaine wanted to talk about her Agro Solution project. She's from Rwanda, like we already heard in the introduction round. Germaine, can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can hear.
Hello. I was just introducing you as our next best practice example and realized you were kicked out of the call. Would you like to tell us a bit more about your project now?
Well, yeah, I've made the PowerPoint presentation. May I share my screen? Or
yes, please, of course. Yeah, very happy if you do that. I just made you co-host, so that should be possible for you now.
Right. Let me do so. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do. And we hear you
Right.
well. So over to you, Germaine. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. My name is Germaine Akeza. I am from Rwanda and I am into agriculture service provision and currently running
project called Agro Solution. It's just agriculture solution with the focus of promoting conservation agriculture practices. So we are currently working with women in the community called Bugesera. And quick overview of women in agriculture, there's a fact that women comprise about 43% of agriculture labor force globally. And with that, women in agriculture produce more than 50% of the world's food and are responsible for some of the 60% to 80% food production in developing countries. This is something we really have to appreciate. And this really contribute to food security and tackling the challenges faced by women in agriculture, despite all the work that they do in contributing to food production. There is a closer look to lack of decision-making power, where they have limited participation in decision-making, exclusion from the community and household. This comes with a different culture or traditions in different communities. And there is even less say in crop choices, like you are with your husband, but when it comes to the seasons, you're not the one to decide. And this also comes with the sales and investment. So there are other issues regarding the impacts on farming practices, where there is reduced ability to innovate and adopt new practices. There's other limited resilience to changing the market demands, and those are the main challenges that affect them. And with that, there are other critical challenges that I'm so much focused on, which is climate change vulnerability. So most of the effects of climates are vulnerable to women farmers, because if we have seen, they're the ones in big percentage of food production, they're more likely to be affected by the relation between climate change and agriculture. So most of the people in African communities in Bugesera, they depend on rain-fed agriculture, which leads to the yield losses. And there is less adaptive capacity in terms of climate information and technology. There is insufficient support to adopt climate resilience. And with that, Agro Solution project comes to enforce the understanding of conservation agriculture in terms of its definition and its principles as well. So conservation agriculture is a farming system that can prevent losses of arable land while regenerating the degraded ones. It really promotes maintenance of permanent soil cover, minimum soil disturbance, and diversification of plant species. Within these principles, we actually try to let them benefit women farmers in our community, Bugesera, where it improves the soil fertility, water retention, because if they all depend on rain-fed agriculture, remember that was the climate challenges they face. So we try to teach them how they can use mulching, how they can even use permanent soil cover. And this really helps in water retention and resilience. So that's all about climate resilience. With that, when you use conservation agriculture by diversifying crops and practicing soil cover, you reduce the labor in terms of the weeding and gradually through mechanization. If you can really afford it for some of the farmers, because that Bugesera is a flat area where you can even mechanize tools that can be practiced in the CA. So there are huge contribution of conservation agriculture to food security. Remember, that was the percentage we've seen the women really contribute a lot to the food security. So with this knowledge and skills regarding conservation agriculture practices, they can really eliminate the losses for machinery and fuels used in the tillage, because if they used to have those mechanical tools and they're practicing conservation agriculture, it reduces the losses. And we come back to the water retention. Since they are in rain-fed agriculture, this allows stable yields, and it really prevents soil erosion and loss of fertile soil. And most of the cover crops are places with pests and diseases. This can reduce the cost of, in terms of agrochemicals and inputs, as well as the labor for the people who are going to weed. So what are we doing in these projects? We are trying to train farmers in different fields This picture depicts the training women in bees under the theme Women at the Center of Creating Safe Environment for Bees. This happened in the March, and we were trying to see how they can practice different concepts of conservation agriculture in protecting the environment as well, since the climate vulnerability is a big issue. We are trying to recognize women's efforts, and we are even trying to empower them through all the ways possible, through capacity building most of the often, because they have a limited knowledge in terms of the climate information. So we are trying to bring the concept of the climate and let them practicing the conservation agriculture so that they can achieve the sustainability of their crops, as well as the income and as well as the standard of living of their household. So through the capacity building, we try to tailor training programs that matches with what they want with demonstration plots. You can see from the pictures, we try to say maybe you're going to have a plot that demonstrates how we can practice mulching, how we can practice minimum tillage. And with those compilation of how they are used to farming and those practices, we can have the data of the outcomes, how these techniques have affected the yield, how these techniques have affected the income of the farmers. And with that, they can really adopt what they see. Literally, farmers believe in what they see, because when they see something is working, of course, they have to adopt. So with the workshops on sustainable pest management and how they can increase their income, the project contributes in organizing and conduct those training to their farm site, the chosen farm site, and some of the farmers have to gather together and get the trainings, practical and the theories. And we already read the gap between the science. There is a lot of sciences that is in the books, and there is the ground knowledge that farmers and the skills have. So with that, there is a practical implementation of the practices that can even be afforded by the farmers with a low academic level. So that's what we try to bring on the ground. So those are some of the impact stories. This is our old farmer who is called Zebri. She's a dedicated farmer, and she tried to give us in the newsletter we are trying to write for the impact stories of our project and the Embraced Agro-Solution Project Conservation Agriculture Practices. She's a farmer in the banana plantation. By adopting mulching in her banana planting, she realized that her soil have been actually fertile and you can't find weeds in the banana plantain, and this has reduced the cost of actually hiring people to come and weed. And of course, there is a water limitation because in this season, we are from the season of, which is not rain, where there is a low level of rain, but now you can see no wilting of the banana plantain. So this is a simple change, not only that increase the yield or the income, but also showcasing the power of sustainable practices in transforming the livelihood. I really believe in power of capacity building, and our farmer needs to get climate information on time, and they really need to get the sustainable practices, hence transforming their livelihood in one way or another. With that, we have concluded that conservation agriculture really works, since in 100 farmers who has been trained, 70% are ready from the survey, are ready to adopt these practices in the next season that is going to start in September. So they are going to plant according to what we have shown them, and they really have seen through our demonstration plots in the previous trainings. And 30% they have financial constraint that they are not going to plant, and some are willing to adopt, 10 of them are willing to adopt this conservation agriculture practices in the next season when maybe they have money to run for the season. So thank you very much. There is a general message that I'll tell youth or women that I am the youth, and I took this initiative to solve the gap within my community. So I tell everyone that we can solve all the problems in agriculture. There are lots, but we can do a lot if we challenge ourselves to find a niche where you have capabilities to fit in. So I'm good agriculture educator, and this is my niche. What's your niche? I challenge everyone to take the niche and we solve the problem in agriculture. Thank you very much. I'll be glad to receive questions, if any.
Thank you so much, Jermaine, and a big applause also to you. Thanks so much for sharing about the conservation agriculture. Keep us updated what those farmers that trade now in September. You can tell us in our WhatsApp group how that goes throughout the year and the period. And I love how you said that, yeah, they believe what they see and you have those trainings, but you also connected to the scientific knowledge. That's really impressive. Thanks so much for sharing. We're a bit over time with what we've planned, but I still want to give everybody the chance to also ask Jermaine a question if you have. Sorry, Anna, I know I'm changing the schedule here. If there's any questions for Jermaine, this would be the chance now, or you can also ask later onwards. That's what we have the WhatsApp group for. I don't see a hand or anything in the chat right now. Okay, so yeah, we can still exchange in the WhatsApp group, like I said, and thanks, Jermaine, again for sharing that. Now that we've already talked for almost an hour and a half, I would like to check a bit how the energy is from everyone. Are you tired already? Do you need a break? So please, we have our energy level elephants, how we call it. With that, you can tell us how you feel. We do that in our team meetings, actually, and it's really fun. So you can choose a number and just type in the chat or unmute yourself. Feel free to just share. This is the moment, how you feel right now. To give you an example, I feel like an 8. I have to look at the time, and I'm excited about the other collaboration that we still have planned. I see a few answers. Near 40 feels like a 1. I hope that's happy and energized. Olive as well. How about the others? Another one, Muhammad. Jermaine is an 8, also with the glasses on. Masika is 6. Nkweto, I'm sorry. I hope I do my best to say the name right. Also a 1. Joria an 8. Okay, many 1s and 8s here. 1, 6. The number 9 is just a little joke for me, just because I found that picture so funny. We have a number 7, Malamin. Okay, under the waterfall. Also a happy face, I hope. That's how I interpret it. Super. Great. Okay, but I see most of you happy, hopefully still energized to continue. So we will go to our second round of speed dating, and you have the chance to hopefully meet other 2 change makers. And ICP is also sharing a number 7. Thanks so much. So we will put you in breakout rooms again for 3 minutes. Again, you have 1 minute per person, and now it's the chance to introduce your project. So not yourself, but what you work on to the fellow change makers. And Anna is again the expert behind this, and we'll put you into breakout rooms just like before, and then we again meet all here together for the next activity. Super, I see the rooms are opening. Some of you might have to accept it on your screen to enter there, and we see you later. Introduce your project to the others now. And I will stop the recording for now. Okay. I see many of you connecting back into the main room. Welcome back. Great to see you all back here. So I hope you heard about some more inspiring projects from your fellow change makers. And now I know that it's also, and we touched upon this already, that it's also not just challenges and difficult for the women farmers, but also for you and your projects. And this is what we want to look at now. So we will take some more time and again, use the chat, or preferably for the ones who can, the sticky notes. And please tell us, what are the challenges that you face in your country as a young change maker, as an agri-entrepreneur, as a volunteer or activist? And is there already something, we don't look at the wish list yet, is there already something that supports you? So we will look at both those questions now. I will put a timer again for 3 minutes and ask you, please share with us what are the challenges for you and what are the solutions? And for the ones that have a bit of problem with the sticky notes, you can also type it in the chat again. Anna is happy to help you. But I see already one typing. Okay. I know 3 minutes are not very long, probably, for all the challenges, but I'm happy that we have some points here that we can look at together. I will just make them bigger so we can all read them well. So what are the challenges for you? In the middle, we have few platforms to make decisions that can influence change. I hope that with this community, at least you have another platform to connect. For decision making, we hear the call. Youth are considered unknowledgeable enough to influence. So yeah, the challenges that are there for young people. Limited access to financial resources. So again, we heard about this earlier as well for the projects. That's a big barrier. A mentorship guide on how to successfully achieve the goal. Okay, so that's a very clear call. That could be on our wish list for later on. That could help. Lack of technical center, I see here. So technical challenges, I hear out of that as well. I'll make this bigger. The major challenges are international policies that affect local smallholder farmers. Okay, so Nia Forti shared about this as well, the international trade, how it affects, but also the policies and their effect on smallholder farmers. competing interests, building career versus making social change. Yeah, that's a big one, of course, especially with the financial barriers. So it's really great to have all that collected here together. Burnout, that's actually, yeah, a big one, and a scary one, securing funding and capacity, and we all have a limited amount of time, and yeah, maybe this can go together with the career, on like trying to secure funds, trying to make the projects go, but their own health is also important. Lack of enough capital and limited advocacy success, so that's connected maybe to the platforms and the financial resources. And here we have another one, access to packaging and transportation materials. Okay, that's very practical as well. We could take this to our wish list. And looking at the solutions that we already support you, is making change in areas you are already trained in. Okay. I'm not sure how this solution is meant in detail. But yeah, connected to trainings, something that you already have knowledge about, I see here. Access to women who have already, I think that person was still typing, we can wait for that. I want to give you the chance to maybe, since we have a lot of challenges, but maybe is there a solution that you already have, that already supports you, that you would like to share right now? Sophia Masika, go ahead, please.
I'm the one who put the solution as making change in areas you already are trained in.
Yeah,
so
okay.
An example of myself, I'm a veterinary doctor, so I'm in the goat farming business, or making change in the goat farming industry. So I was trained in school on how to raise goats, make it an economically beneficial business, and now I don't need extra knowledge to come into this area to be able to make this change and bring more women into it. So maybe I think it's the same thing as what the last presenter said about identifying your niche. Maybe we can change it. We can change the solution to like making change in an area that is a niche that you don't need to extra income or to gain extra knowledge in, if that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. That's great. And I love that. You're right. Identifying your niche, using the knowledge you already have. That's already a solution that you have, right? Inside you. That's very motivating. That's great. Thanks so much for sharing. I would like to give you all the chance to, before we end, add something to our wish list, because I see there is many challenges that you see, few solutions that you already have. So maybe this is actually the better call, and we will scroll over here. And this is your special wish list of the EVA Changemakers 2023. I ask all of you to add one point, sticky note, or in the chat again, of something you really wish, something that would support you big time and that would really accelerate your projects, or your own approach, the career. You talked about challenges in the career. So please, I will give us again a bit of time, and ask you to add a wish to our wish list, please. Okay. I see a few more people typing and moving the sticky notes, but I will start already summarizing what we have here, and I think it's great. More women to have access to land, that's a very clear call. A platform to showcase what we have done, to prove to other women that it can be done too. So like best practice examples sharing, to connect maybe also on the platform. And the other 3 calls that we have in our wish list so far are all connected to mentorship. So I think that's a very clear call we have out of that wish list here. I will summarize them. So access to mentors who have made change on a global scale, connecting Food Army with a mentor directly, and a mentorship guide on how to successfully achieve the goals. That's what I took from the previous solutions over here. Thank you all so much for contributing to this wish list. Feel free to keep adding stuff. You have access to the mural, because the good thing about this wish list is that we have in our EVA project also a EVA expert council. And I will take that wish list from you, young changemakers, and present it to them, show them, okay, we need mentorship. We really need access to land for women. That's a big challenge. And we need more platforms to exchange and to showcase what we have done already. I really want to give you enough time in the end to exchange maybe a bit more on ideas. So I will keep it at that for now on the mural. Oh, I see we forgot a little one, sorry. A campaign for our advocacy. Oh, that's a beautiful end on our wish list. Because that's exactly one of the next steps that I wanted to share with you in our EVA Changemakers campaign. And before we end with our next steps, I invite you all to turn your camera again on. We would like to take a picture together at the very end, after collecting all the ideas, after making the wish list together. Before I share the last next steps and before we go to our open networking. I see Katharina is ready already. I'll just wait for the last ones to turn on the cameras for those who can. I see Muhammad, Olive, Masika Sofia, Nierforti, Melamine, great, thank you. Kelsey, super, thanks also for turning on your camera. Jovia, nice, okay. Vincent, super. Katharina, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Let's take a last final picture. So let's see what could we do. Maybe a heart sign? You want to do a heart sign? That's cute, no? So I will count again to 3 and take a picture. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you so much.
Super. Thanks, Katharina, for this picture. And now, please, I want to hear your thoughts about this whole event, about what you've added to the wish list, maybe you want to share on that, or just ask another change maker another question. This is really now the last 15 minutes that we have to exchange. And Olive, just shoot, go right ahead of what you would like to share with us.
Thank you. This was such an amazing session, so fruitful. I wanted to raise on the campaigning for our advocacy as well as projects, and maybe on a campaigning to financial infrastructures if they could help us with loans or grants. So the challenges, I think most of us here have been having as already put is a lot of people don't take youth advocacy serious. So, but in the meantime, maybe if elevating voices for women in agriculture change makers try to campaign for us, it would add some value, more especially in African countries. Youth are taken as people that don't know what they're doing. So if we have something like this program helping us campaign our advocacy, I believe some institutions would actually take us serious. And that would help us even getting capital from these financial institutions and everything. And also just for people to know our products, because another big challenge is people not knowing our products in our own countries because they don't take the youth serious. Thank you.
Thanks, Olive, so much. Thanks, Olive. That's actually what we try to do, of course, with this campaign. That's why we have our big launch of all of you on the 15th of October, like I said in my last email, where we showcase your projects and you as change makers. And that's also something what we see for that youth is not taken seriously. But I want to give the chance to the others to respond to this, to share more thoughts on that or another topic. Go ahead, please. Julia, unmuted. Would you like to say something?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No problem at all. Anyone else? Would you like to share more thoughts about your wish list, about what Olive said? I see a hand near 40, please. You are on mute. We don't hear you yet.
I just want to say this initiative is an amazing initiative. I want to thank the organizers and everyone. I'm really hearing a really amazing projects, but I want to tell everyone that is designing the project and that we have a project. There is always a tendency that we want to write projects to satisfy a lot of things that we know that funders are going to give to us. And that is why Africa is still very poor. We want to make sure that a project will satisfy environmental things. We want to make sure that it will satisfy different things. But at the end of the day, we should be very keen and decide and say as young people, what we truly want to see is change. The projects that we design, at the end of the day, I want to applaud, I want to just encourage everyone that at the end of the day, we should truly see a meaningful difference in the lives of the women. And this difference should be from the angle of the financial aspect. Because at the end of the day, we want to see women have money. We want to see them see agriculture as a business and not a way of life. Yeah, so even if it's a conservation project, if it's a project to solve food waste, but what I want to say to all the change makers who are listening and watching is that at the end of the day, if it's not putting money in the pockets of these women and making their lives better, being able to pay fees to a point where we don't keep going back to help them, to keep training them and building capacity, I think it would be a great thing. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Neoforti, for sharing those words, for motivating everyone. Would someone like to answer to that directly, to Neoforti, to what he said? Or raise a different point? I see also in the chat, I think this is about the wish list before Muhammad said a platform for networking. So this is exactly what we try to give you with this campaign, to exchange and to motivate the others, like what Neoforti did now, to share ideas. That's why we keep the chat for. And if you like, we could make another networking event like this, or brainstorming event about solutions and challenges. Masika, Sophia, please.
Yeah, I think I'll just respond to Prince Will's comment. I completely agree with you that it's important that at the end of the day, the women benefit, because most of the time the projects we see people benefiting from the communities when the communities directly do not benefit financially from these programs. And the other thing is to make sure that we are transferring skills, because like the African saying, it is better to teach a man how to fish than to give them fish for a day, so that they're able to go back and look for the fish themselves, so that they're not dependent on the projects and the programs that you're running. But I would also like to thank the BKMC team for organizing this. It's been very insightful and encouraging to see how many people are doing great things in different parts of this continent, and most of them being young people. It's very encouraging to see the future that we are headed towards. So thank you very much for setting this up, and I look forward to the future networking events that you're going to organize. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sophia. That's really nice for us to hear, of course. And yeah, we hope to make more events like this. I see that that's also raised in the chat. Also to give others the chance to share their projects. Vincent, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, I think really a brief thing to add that. Okay, firstly, I'm sorry I wasn't able to add the background. I've been traveling, but the next time I really hope to have the background. But also I think I've been able to get new perspectives and fresh perspectives from this meeting, and I think that is really important, and I'm going to put it into practice as we move forward with the project. So I think another meeting such as this, as another networking event, will be good, because you might be thinking that all you're doing is, correct, it's the best thing that you can do, but you get to meet other people and then you're like, oh, I hadn't thought of this. I can go to add these to what I'm doing. So thank you once again.
Cool. Great. Thanks for sharing that to hear. Yeah. Like the others said also in the chat, we're happy to host another meeting like this to make others be able to present their project as best practice examples. There was only time for 2 today, but that's definitely something we could do, and use the WhatsApp chat. We had great experience with this also in the past years of people sharing, I don't know, funding options, new ideas, maybe some toolkit, or just, I'm traveling here, are you there, can we connect? You know a bit more about each other now, so that's made for that. Vincent, would you like to add something to this, or is your hand just still up? I'm not sure now.
Oh, sorry, I think I forgot to put it down, sorry.
Yeah, no worries, that's all right. Anyone else who would like to share their thoughts? I see Malamin in the chat, the future women farmers is bright. Thank you. That's so motivating. That's lovely to hear. Thanks for this session. Super. Thanks a lot for that. Do you have more thoughts that you would like to share with the group, or questions you would like to ask to others? I don't see any hands or questions in the chat. Olive, yeah?
Mine is just a question. You mentioned that the campaign is happening in October, right? My question is, what are we expected to be doing from August to October?
That's a very good question. Thanks, Olive, for that. That is perfect for my last words that I prepared and for the closing. So we need a bit of time now to prepare the campaign. It will be a social media campaign. Together with the Ban Ki-moon Center team who you've met today, we will prepare visuals, and we will dedicate a full week on our social media account from the 15th of October for you. So we will introduce you, the pictures you've uploaded, we will put them there, your bios that you've uploaded, and that needs a bit of time. So mainly this time now is for us to prepare all this and for you to connect in the meantime. And once we start the campaign, to share it a lot. So you mentioned that the youth needs to be heard more, and this is really the goal here. Using the platform of the Ban Ki-moon Center and then sharing it within your network, your peers, other change makers, people that you know, to show, okay, here, I'm part of this campaign, this is my project. So this is sort of the ask for October, and until then, use the group, stay connected. And we've also mentioned that there will be one person selected as a champion from the campaign. Today I had to change the schedule a bit, unfortunately. I couldn't show you the documentary of last year's champion, but I will send it to you all, or maybe you've seen it already. And this will also happen until then. So the champion will be notified by us in the upcoming days. And the official announcement, though, for everyone will be at COP. But until then, we just ask you to stay connected, and then in October, share the campaign. Did that answer your question, Olive?
Yes, it did, but I don't know. Are we supposed to be providing some information to you, or or you use the same one that was provided?
Yeah. Sorry, I know we. Sorry, I'll just put you on mute to not hear you double and to not hear myself double. No, you don't have to provide anything else. You provided everything in your application. I see Melamin also asking in the chat if you can add more pictures. Yes, you can. Feel free to send that to us if you would like to add more. But there is no ask like sending other stuff right now. No. I hope it's a bit clearer now.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Super. Okay, I see some thumbs up from Yeforti and Malamin. That's great. Thank you all for being here today. It's 5 o'clock. The time flew for me the last 2 hours with all of you and all your projects. Thanks so much for participating, for staying connected. I know that it might be tricky with the connections, for sharing your thoughts, for brainstorming with us and meeting the others, and also being so open and talk about your challenges. It's been a great, great pleasure to finally meet you all, at least online. I've been reading, and the team from the Ban Ki-moon Center has been reading your application, so it's nice to connect with the faces behind now. And I wish you all the best. We will stay in touch until the campaign. And yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And thanks for the ones in this chat. I see the messages. Bye-bye.